Hey everyone, and welcome back. So you guys have sent in some really interesting articles this week about the future of Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah.
And one piece from The Sun really stood out, I gotta say.
Oh, yeah.
But it came with a little pinch of salt emoji, which I thought was very appropriate from the listener.
Yeah, I saw that.
So,
Good call.
let's dive in and try to unpack what's really going on.
Yeah, let's sift through the rumors and the speculation and see if we can figure out what we should actually believe.
Perfect. So you're going to be our voice of reason today.
I'll do my best.
Awesome. Okay, so this article from The Sun claims that Doctor Who is ending,
Oh boy.
that Ncuti Gatwa might be leaving the show because he's, becoming a really big star in America,
Yeah.
and that the BBC's deal with Disney is falling apart.
Hmm.
So three pretty big claims.
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, so where should we even start?
Well, I think we should probably start with that pinch of salt emoji.
Yeah.
The Sun is known for loving a good Doctor Who scoop.
Yeah.
But their track record is a little bit spotty, let's say.
Right.
Remember back in 2015 when they were absolutely convinced that Peter Capaldi was leaving?
Oh, yeah.
And he ended up staying on for like another 3 seasons.
They were positive he was gone.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
So
Maybe we should take this with a grain of salt.
yeah, I think a healthy dose of skepticism is warranted here.
Absolutely. But they do get things right sometimes.
Occasionally, yeah.
So let's look at these claims one by one.
Okay.
The first one, Doctor Who is ending.
Right.
The BBC has already come out and denied this.
Yeah, that's not surprising. They're not going to cancel one of their, most famous, most beloved shows
Their crown jewel.
without a fight. Yeah.
Right.
So I think we can probably put that one to bed.
Okay, so that one's probably not true.
Probably not.
What about Ncuti Gatwa leaving?
Okay, so this one's a little bit more interesting.
Right.
He is becoming a huge star in America, but with Barbie and everything.
Yeah.
And The Sun claims that, he's getting all these offers and he's thinking about leaving Doctor Who to pursue a career in Hollywood.
Right. And would you blame him?
I wouldn't.
He's very talented.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing here is that the BBC has not said anything about Gatwa's future. They usually jump at the chance to deny rumors about their stars.
Right.
So the fact that they've been silent on this one is very telling.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
So what do you think that means?
Well, it could mean that there's some truth to the rumors.
Okay.
Maybe Gatwa is thinking about leaving, or maybe they're already in negotiations with him to try to keep him on the show.
Right.
But we just don't know for sure.
And if he did leave,
Yeah.
what would that mean for the show? It'd go on without you.
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
They could recast.
Yeah.
But that's always risky,
Oh, absolutely.
especially so soon after casting Gatwa.
Right.
Fans are really excited to see him as the Doctor.
Yes, they are.
And I think recasting so quickly could really alienate a lot of people.
Yeah. I'm not sure I could handle another regeneration so soon.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot to process.
Okay, so we don't know what's happening with Gatwa, but it's a very interesting situation.
Definitely something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on to the third claim, the Disney deal.
Okay.
So The Sun is saying that this deal is about to collapse,
Uh-huh.
and that Doctor Who could lose a lot of its funding and its global audience as a result.
Right.
Now, this Disney deal has been really important for the show, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's brought in a much bigger budget.
Huge budget.
Yeah, and it's given Doctor Who a global reach that it's never had before.
Definitely.
So if this deal does fall through, what happens to Doctor Who?
Well, the BBC has some tough choices to make.
Yeah.
They could try to go it alone.
Right.
Fund the show entirely themselves.
Right.
But that would mean a much smaller budget.
Yeah.
And it could potentially impact the production value of the show.
Oh, for sure.
We might see a return to the wobbly sets and the,
Whoa.
duct-taped Daleks.
Oh, no, back to the 80s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's one option.
Okay.
The other option would be to try to find a new streaming partner.
Right.
But the question is, would anyone be willing to invest as much as Disney?
That's a good question.
And what kind of creative control would they demand?
Right. Would we even recognize the show?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of unknowns here.
Yeah, a lot of what ifs.
Yeah.
It's like we're stuck in a time loop of uncertainty.
A bit of a paradox, isn't it? We have all this information, these reports, these denials.
Right.
But the future of Doctor Who is still a complete mystery.
It really is.
Yeah.
So what do you think all of this means for the listener?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway here is the importance of critical thinking.
Yeah,
Don't believe everything you read,
especially not the sun.
especially not the sun.
Right.
Consider the sources, consider their biases,
Yeah.
and wait for official confirmation before you get swept up in all the speculation.
That's really good advice.
Yeah.
I think we all need to remember that sometimes.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, well, while we wait for official news from the BBC or Disney or Russell T Davies,
Yeah.
I want you to think about this. What would be the ideal future for Doctor Who?
Mm.
What balance of creative freedom and budget and audience reach would ensure that this show thrives
That's a great question.
for another 60 years?
Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts, and until next time, keep those sonic screwdrivers handy.
Yeah, don't go anywhere without it.